Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer breakdown, every Easter egg and detail you missed. And I'm talking to you, but also me, because I know I missed a lot of stuff. I'm so excited for this movie, so much to the fact that I may post a video just rewatching every single Spider-Man movie. Let me know if that's something you want to watch. I'll definitely upload that on the main channel. But if you do want to pull up to the live streams where I watch everything live, of course, scan the QR code on screen, use the link in my description, pull up, let's vibe, let's have a good time. Now, Mr. Eric Voss, tell me what
that you might have missed. The shirt I'm wearing is this Who's Who design, inspired by the three that you might have missed. The shirt. Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss, and this is a frame-by-frame breakdown of every detail and Easter egg and rogue cameo you missed in the trailer for Spider-Man Brand New Day, a movie coming July 31st, 2026, the fourth Tom Holland Spider-Man movie following Spider-Man No Way Home. I seriously found so many details on this trailer just by taking a full day to go through it super slowly again and again and
clap it up for Eric Voss over there on New Rockstars. They really be going in overtime just to make sure we have some premium content for our ears and eyes.
I love to collect all my thoughts on how it all makes sense. So in this video, I'm gonna go through this trailer shot by shot to explain all the stuff that you might have missed. The shirt I'm wearing.
High key, you never had a childhood if you never, as soon as you finish watching the movie in the movie theaters, you go home and watch your New Rockstars breakdown for the movie. Like, you didn't have a childhood. I'm not gonna lie. That's something me and my grandma always did. And then then say like we had to go our separate ways. She had to go back to her house. I had to go back to mine. I'm over here just like I'm sending her the video. I just watched that New Rockstars just broke it down. You gotta watch that. You gotta watch that. I'm over like, oh man, bro. If you haven't experienced that, please do it this time. We got so many movies dropping, and Spider-Man being one of the best ones of this year. I mean, of course we got Doomsday. Don't forget Doomsday, and we got Doom. We got Doom 3. Like, we got so much to watch. But first seeing the movie like premiere night, mandatory, or the day of, mandatory. Anything less, I don't care. I don't care if you have a life. Put everything to the side. Get a group of friends and go to the movies. Preferably 4DX. If it's a 4DX movie, like Spider-Man 4DX movie, have to see that in 4DX. Either way, I'm getting off topic. Once you get back home, turn on that New Rockstars and let Eric Voss tell you everything you missed, because I promise you missed everything.
The trailer opens with this stunning shot of Peter Parker sitting on the underside of a steel construction beam with his feet pointed upward toward the sky and the cityscape of New York City behind him. It's a classic trippy Spider-Man pose that we saw in an early scene with Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy in the animated Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It's just a visually gorgeous way of showing Spider-Man's emotional disassociation from a society that doesn't really know him or understand him.
Have we ever gotten a live action adaptation of this look? Because I know we got it in Cross the Spider-Verse, but all right, before we get back into the internet being the internet, let me put y'all on real quick. Free cash. If you already spend your time playing games on your phone, you might as well get paid for it. Just hit the link in my description or scan the QR code that's on the screen right now. Sign up for free with your email and password and pick from a bunch of games and offers inside the app. Play, you complete tasks, you earn money that goes straight into your free cash account. And I cannot stress this enough how simple it is. Some people make $10 to $20 a day, and there are bigger offers available if you really go after it. Plus, you won't even need to spend money to get started. And when you're ready to cash out, you can use PayPal or gift cards. So please stop scrolling for free. Hit the link in my description or scan the QR code, sign up for free. And the best part about it, if you use my link, you get a $5 bonus just to get started. Now let's get back into this video. I feel like in this movie, they have the chance to get those like cinematic, amazing Spider-Verse shots that we know and love and turn into live action. They really have to start experimenting, which I feel like they've already done just in the trailer. This is just a trailer. We saw 3 minutes of a 2-hour movie. This movie better be like 2 hour 40. Let's be honest. This movie need to be long. I need this to be a girthy boy.
Using his adhesive bonding to surfaces and what must require attentive concentration just to feel like you're dangling over an abyss that would take you into the stratosphere, while you force the city you feel duty-bound to protect to stay behind you. Yet those skyscrapers are kind of making the shape of teeth clenching down on you. While the first 3 Tom Holland Spider-Man movies were directed by John Watts, this fourth one is being directed by Destin Daniel Cretton.
I don't care what anyone says. I absolutely love this. If you have Netflix, you're dumb. Instead, you can join my Patreon where we watch the same movies, TV shows, and even anime live with me and the community, all for less money than your Netflix subscription. Don't get scammed by Netflix. Scan the QR code on screen and join the lawbreakers. Red and black Spider-Man suit. Something about this suit was so swaggy. I just wish, I feel like they didn't use it that much, but maybe I'm tripping. I swear like it was used in like one movie for like 30 minutes or something, then was never seen again. But something I like this, something about this is so swaggy. I feel like, oh, and especially in this new movie, we see like he's going through a metamorphosis of things. If he had like a kill mode, you know how like in the first movie he hacked his little Android computer to get on kill mode and things. Imagine him having a suit for the kill mode. Kind of think of like his Venom suit in the original trilogy of Spider-Man. Something like that with a red and black, him just on kill mode would be so tough. But I know they're not gonna do that. I'm just throwing like little stupid ideas out there.
Movies were directed by John Watts. This fourth one is being directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, who directed Shang-Chi for Marvel Studios. Before taking on this project, he was going to direct a fifth Avengers movie when it was still going to be the Kang Dynasty.
The Kang Dynasty. Wow, wow, wow. So I feel so bad for Jonathan Majors. Did he do anything wrong? I don't know. From the footage I seen, I don't look like he did anything wrong. But let me know if I'm tripping. Let me know if I'm tripping. It looked like he was trying to get away from flee the scene, and you know, and shit like that. But hey, bro, they got him up out of here so bad. And it was like, you know, a part of me is like sad it didn't happen. But now that the fact we have Robert Downey Jr. coming back for, oh my god, coming back for Doom and Doomsday. I couldn't ask for anything better, honestly. I think I said this in one of my last videos, in my last react. I think this movie's gonna end. I'm talking Spider-Man Brand New Day. I think the movie is going to end with a post-credit scene of him being starstruck, thinking he found Tony Stark again. Whole time, no, buddy boy is Doomsday. Like, if you really think about it, this is the only Marvel movie leading up to Doomsday. So they're gonna have to do a crazy little side plot for it's everything to connect correctly. But yeah, like I said, I'm betting the house, the mortgage, the kids' college fund that Doom is gonna see Peter and try to like groom him. Yes, groom him.
So this director, known for dazzling visuals, strong emotional beats, and great stunt directing, is really proving he understands the assignment. For Peter to be this high up, taller than most of the tallest skyscrapers we can see in the shot, he must be on some new, even taller high-rise that's in the process of being constructed. Could this be the new extensions of the former Avengers Tower that are now part of Val's Watchtower, as we saw it in Thunderbolts? Could it be an even newer skyscraper like Oscorp Tower? Wherever this is, this lonely place is where Peter goes to watch his Instagram reel from Ned, who's posting with MJ about their first day at MIT. In the previous film, 2021 Spider-Man No Way Home, Peter Parker, after having been publicly outed as Spider-Man in a posthumous video by Mysterio, faced legal and public scrutiny that, along with him landing some starred legal counsel from Matt Murdock, did face the consequences of preventing himself and his best friend Ned and his girlfriend MJ from getting into their dream college of MIT. So Peter asked Dr. Strange to perform a memory wipe spell, the Runes of Kafkal, to make the world forget he was Spider-Man, but in the process, Peter's last-minute wavering caused that spell to go awry and bring in half a dozen or so multiverse men from other universes, including the Spidey villains we've seen from past eras and the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield iterations of Peter Parker.
It's so crazy how Spider-Man was the leading cause to the multiverse actually happening. Yeah, we had Doctor Strange and whatever the frick, but that didn't really do anything. Spider-Man really set the scene because it took already established characters and villains from other movies and put it into this movie. And the fact that after that, then into Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, I believe the second Miles Morales movie, we're seeing visuals of the live action Spider-Man being thrown in there. It's like, okay, they're really like connecting this universe. And I really feel like there needs to be a point in time where if this movie doesn't, because I feel like this movie's gonna end up to lead into Doomsday, but somewhere on the line they have to connect this movie, which is like it's already connected because, you know, we had the original Spider-Man's, you know, in a cameo in one of those scenes in the Across the Spider-Verse, but we need Tom Holland's Spider-Man to somehow interact with one of the different multiverse Spider-Mans from Across the Spider-Verse. I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know if it's going to be at the end of this movie we might find out who Miles Morales might be, or if that might be in the third movie. But even then, I still feel like in the third movie, when I'm talking about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, of course, in that movie they have to set it up to bring in the live action Miles Morales. Now that might sound crazy. It's like, why would you bring in a live action version? But it's like, this is gonna be the third one of the trilogy, and we still haven't got a live action Miles Morales yet. So this is the perfect way for them to do some type of multiverse little switcheroo. We see Miles and like we see like the live action Miles just for a quick second, so they can just take that and run with it. I'm telling you, we need that. We need it. I don't care if y'all don't don't need it. I need it. So give it to
Defoe's
me.
Green Goblin killed Aunt May, forcing Peter to learn from his new multiverse brothers how to mourn and not give in to revenge. And in the end of that final battle, when the giant multiversal incursion rifts formed in the sky, Peter allowed Doctor Strange to complete the memory wipe spell so that literally everyone forgot that Spider-Man is a guy named Peter Parker. So the name Peter Parker now means nothing to everyone.
Peter Parker got no
currently.
motion now.
And so as that movie ended, Peter saw MJ and Ned in the donut shop where MJ worked and lamented that they have no idea who he is, but was relieved to learn that they did get into MIT. Meanwhile, Peter moved into a new apartment in Manhattan, sewed a new suit inspired by design features of the suits worn by the other two Peters that he met, and in a box in his flat.
Okay, the only thing I'll give Andrew Garfield is Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man suit is really swag. I like the way it looks. I like the I don't know
new
what
suits
what else to
inspired
say.
by
Like,
design feature.
like I like the way it looks. Okay, but it's not to take anything away from Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, because I like the way that suit looks. I really like all the suits, but the only thing I can really give Andrew Garfield for being Andrew Garfield is the suit. Trash behind Spider-Man, bro. And if you have anything to say other, tell that to Gwen. Yeah, he's not gonna save you, bro.
Of the suits worn by the other two Peters that he met, and in a box in his flat, we did see that he was either studying for or had completed his GED. After No Way Home came out, New Rockstars made a ton of videos explaining how this memory wipe spell works exactly, based on the logic shared in interviews with the screenwriters Chris McKenna and Eric Summers, who have returned to write this fourth film. Essentially, the world remembers that a Spider-Man exists, as in a masked red and blue suited spider-themed New York City-based superhero associated with the Avengers, but they do not remember the identity of the person under that mask, or any specific memories involved with his outing. Any memories Ned and MJ had of Peter as a friend, gone. They instead just remember new memories that happened without him, which sadly probably wasn't too much of a warp because Peter often had to miss out on experiences with them by being Spider-Man. Any physical records of Peter's existence, birth certificate, social security number, passport, academic records, medical records, photos, texts, any digital records connected to Peter Parker wiped from existence. And we're pretty sure this spell affected everyone on Earth in the MCU and anyone off-world who would know who Peter is, like Carol Danvers. So long as it's all within this universe, no word yet on whether Doctor Strange's spell affected people who know Peter in other universes, like the multiverse men Peter interacted.
Yo, when you realize your goat's washed.
And whether Doctor Strange's spell affected people who know Peter.
Damn. He too old for this, man. Hang it up.
In other universes, like the multiverse men Peter interacted with in No Way Home after they went back to their home universes. Some questions remained as to whether the memory wipe spell affected buried subconscious dual identities like that of the Hulk. It's a valid question because Bruce Banner is in this movie. I did cover this question in this video. We don't know if the memory wipe spell hit Bruce when he was in his smart Hulk form or sometime after he reverted to his human form.
Get rid of that freaking smart Hulk, whatever the hell, bro. Like, it was cool while it lasted. Was it ever cool? Like, it was cool. It was like fun. It was funny. But like, I'm trying, like, give me Hulk. Give me Savage Hulk.
Rarely after starting to wear that inhibitor bracelet that he had in the Shang-Chi post-credit scene in the beginning of She-Hulk before it broke in the car crash that he continues to wear in this trailer. Smart Hulk does have the same mind and memories as the human.
By the way, that's all you need to know about She-Hulk. You don't need to go watch She-Hulk to understand what happened to Hulk. He just explained it right there. Car crash, that bada bing bada boom. Because Hulk is literally in the show for like one episode. Everything else is hoopla block, whatever the frick. I don't know what I was watching, bro. Like, and spoilers to people that haven't seen She-Hulk and you do want to watch it, I go ahead and watch it. But let you know it's a waste of time because literally the whole plot just gets thrown away because she goes and breaks the fourth wall and just like erases the script and it's like, oh well, it doesn't, like, she just hits a freaking Deadpool and like it's like the whole thing we were building up was pointless because she just changed the script. It just started throwing people in, taking people out. There's like, what was I watching? What were y'all doing? Like, I don't get it. Like, it was so stupid.
Bruce Banner, but does
and maybe unpopular opinion, I enjoyed the show for what it was until up to that point, because then it's like, okay, now you're wasting my time. Thanks for that. Like,
being a Savage Hulk, remember Peter? That's a pretty hard case to make because Peter didn't join the Avengers until Civil War, and at that point, Hulk/Bruce was off-world on Sakaar. Thor Ragnarok confirmed that when Hulk was at the wheel, Bruce Banner suffered a complete memory blackout, and likely.
Hey, one of Marvel's best movies, by the way. Thor Ragnarok, perfection, best Thor movie. One of the best Marvel movies. Up there. He's up there. It's up there. I ain't gonna lie.
Vice versa, right? So when Bruce returned to Earth in Infinity War, he actually didn't interact at all with Spider-Man when he helped save Tony in the Central Park fight. Savage Hulk and Peter never really hung out. It was only after that point, back at Avengers Compound, when Hulk learned that there was an Ant-Man and a Spider-Man and probably got briefed on the kid. And then years later, of course, Smart Hulk and Peter were both at Tony Stark's funeral. So even if Savage Hulk were to ever come back, I don't know if it would be possible for him to ever have any stored memory that Spider-Man equals Peter Parker, regardless of Doctor Strange's spell.
But
there is some precedent in the comics that after after a memory wipe spell that makes everyone forget that Peter is Spider-Man, Hulk tells Peter that Hulk still remembers. Hulk is also the only one who remembers Sentry after a spell erased Sentry from memory. But based on Peter's GED prep book, him now having a social media account where he's clearly Instagram friends with Ned to be able to see this reel like this, Peter must have taken some steps to reestablish some personnel records. And
yeah, his Instagram handle is not Peter Parker. And go follow him, not Peter Parker. And speaking on Instagram, go follow my spam account where I'll be posting there way more on there than my main account. Not TheKidLaw. It's definitely not me, but they definitely follow it.
A digital footprint. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to lease an apartment or hold a job to be able to afford a smartphone. And not just any smartphone, folks. This is a Galaxy Z Flip 7.
Oh, it's actually a Galaxy
$1,099. Ned says in the reel that this is he and MJ's first day at MIT. Though according to the official synopsis,
I said $1,000 was crazy, and then like my iPhone cost about like $1,000. Like, why do we pay so much for phones? That's a great question. Why the frick do we pay so much for phones? And then for extra storage, like it costs like an extra $500. Like, are we crazy?
4 years have passed since the events of No Way Home, and Peter is now an adult living entirely alone, having voluntarily erased himself from the lives and memories of those he loves. Crime fighting in a New York that no longer knows his name, he's devoted himself entirely to protecting his city, a full-time Spider-Man. But as the demands on him intensify, the pressure sparks a surprising physical evolution that threatens his existence. Even as
full-time Spider-Man just means he's fully depressed. Like, like he has no time to enjoy himself. Like, but that's the cost. But that's the cost of being a superhero. Yo, is Deadpool really gonna be in this movie? I heard people saying Deadpool might be in this, but no. Why would Deadpool be in? No, I think I'm thinking about Doomsday and Secret Wars. Like, because bro, when you really think about it, Secret Wars. Even if you look up one of the comic books for Secret Wars, the main thing you see in Secret Wars comic. You know what I mean? Like, I'm seeing Miles Morales. When I see Secret Wars, I be seeing Miles Morales. I be seeing everyone. Like, they have to finally bridge the gap between every universe and have every single person. Like, we think Doomsday is gonna have a crazy cast. And I'm pretty sure every person they showed on the cast is not even everyone. If you think Doomsday is gonna have a crazy cast, wait for Secret Wars, which I'm pretty sure is happening next year. I don't think they're waiting too long on this. Or if anything, it might be 2 years. But still, dude, Deadpool's gonna be in it. I feel like that's confirmed.
A strange new pattern of crimes gives rise to one of the most powerful threats he has ever faced. So I think what we're seeing here is one scene that takes place earlier, like 6 months after the events of No Way Home, and the rest of the movie is going to show Peter 4 years later after MJ and Ned have completed their undergrad degrees. Notice that MJ is hesitant to pretend like she's the happiest she's ever been in her entire life. While being unenthusiastic is very on brand for MJ, I think this is also a sign that deep down, MJ knows that she used to be truly happier, and that even going to MIT isn't enough to fill that mysterious hole in her heart. At least you know that's how Peter's reading this. That second to last scene in No Way Home featured Zendaya giving off the slightest expression to indicate some deja vu that the official screenplay called, quote, a lingering sense of recognition. That plus MJ continues to wear the broken Black Dahlia necklace that Peter got from her in Spider-Man Far From Home in Venice, a necklace that she continues to wear in this film.
And
so I'm telling you guys,
this is why we continue to watch new rock stars and we support new rock stars and we are a new rock stars household, okay? We are our new rock stars household, and if you aren't, you became a new rock starian today. Shout out to Eric Voss because he be picking up on this stuff. She is still wearing the little necklace. That's so... Oh, I could cry right now.
I'll learn this in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Love surpasses memory. MJ's gonna meet Peter in Montauk. Her heart will go on, and I gotta stop. But you can see that Peter is wearing his new suit here with the new silver web shooters on the wrists. Pay close attention to those web shooters throughout this trailer because Peter doesn't always need them to shoot webs. This is the suit Peter used a sewing machine to craft at the end of No Way Home, and the screenplay for that film explicitly describes it as, quote, a blue and red suit, new for him, but reminiscent of the suits he's seen before. Yes, the screenwriters deliberately stated that Peter designed this suit to look like Toby and Andrew's suits. You can really see that with the raised webbing on the red fabric, something we haven't really seen since the Sam Raimi Toby era, and a specific shade of blue recalling the Mark Webb Andrew Garfield era, and the way that suit fits Tom Holland with a certain looseness that allows the air to ripple through it just results in a natural fit that really made Andrew Garfield's suit one of the best looking ever on film. This suit has a new chest logo to represent this new brand new day era. Gone is the squat techie spider from the Home trilogy representing Peter's hardwired collab with Tony Stark. Now we have this long limbed limbed spider with thick clawed legs that stretched far up and down his chest. The title of Brand New Day, by the way, refers to a specific run of Spider-Man comics that began in 2008 to 2009, following the One More Day storyline in which Mephisto granted Peter's wish that the world would forget that Peter is Spider-Man, including erasing his relationship with MJ, and now establishes Peter as a classic, anonymous, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man in a somewhat restored era of street-level conflicts with like drug dealers and gangs and other similar criminals. I don't expect this movie to be an exact adaptation of that era from the comics, but I do think thematically that kind of blank slate is what they're going for in this movie. But not entirely. This is not the first of a new trilogy, it is the fourth of a series. I'll talk about that more as we go. Now, the fact that Tom Holland manages to pull down what's clearly a practical mask over his face and have the eyepieces perfectly aligned with a perfect silhouette and no creases and wrinkles, guys, if you ever worn a Spider-Man mask, that is not easy to pull off in one gesture. So props to the costume designer here. Peter's dive like this reminds us of the shot from Thunderbolts that both opened the trailer and the film itself of Yelena Belova on the second tallest building in the world, performing a troubling jump as she monologued about how she was not in the best headspace, which worried us because at first we didn't really know if she had a parachute. I think this shot...
I'm pretty sure Thunderbolts is another movie I usually, again, I don't see movies often, and I definitely don't see movies twice in the movie theaters. Like, I watch it once, that's about it. That's all you get from me. But I'm pretty sure I watched Thunderbolts again in the movie theaters because it was just that good. Last year, the only movies I rewatched were Sinners, Marty Supreme, Thunderbolt, K-pop Demon Hunters, Superman. I think Superman I watched the most. I think I watched Superman like 3 times.
That Peter is meant to convey a similar type of feeling, but also Peter got this directional dive by first sitting on the underside of a construction beam with his feet pointing upward. So for him, the sky was the abyss that he pondered falling into, and the city is the reality that he's now allowing gravity to pull him back into. In this dive, you can really see the fabric of Peter's suit rippling, a big difference from Tom Holland Peter's suits in the past. It recalls the rippling fabric of Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker's suit and the opening dive of 2014's The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Yeah, I am going to bring up a lot of the echoes among the 3 Peters throughout this video, and I'm going to explain how it might not just be the vibes or member berries, but rather intentional parallels that show how this Peter is evolving after his body learned some adaptations from 2 variants from other universes. Yeah, that surprising physical evolution that threatens his existence and the official synopsis, I'm going to explain exactly what that means in this video. But before we move on, there's this close-up of Peter's eye from this interesting angle underneath his mask, seeing his eye and nose and cheek in profile. The white shape to the lower right with the black border is the eyepiece of Peter's mask. It's kind of an odd shot because it's physically impossible. You would never be able to fit a camera in such a snug place, but it makes this sort of a side view heads-up display, like the times we've seen Tony Stark's faces from inside their helmets with the glowing interfaces around them.
Jarvis, goon me.
But they really want us to focus on Peter's eye. Obviously,
like, let's be honest, he obviously had a goon feature in there. Of course he had him a suck 10,000 wows in there. You know, like duh, like who wouldn't like add that? Like, you feel me? Like we got a long flight. You might as well goon me on the way to the. All right, I'll stop talking. I'm sorry.
A lot of things happen to Peter Parker's eyes in this trailer, and I think they want this to be a contrast to the shot.
No, hold on. No, see this. I need to see this.
A lot of things happen to Peter Parker's eyes in this trailer, and I think they want this to be a contrast to the shot that we get at the end of the trailer. And here, something does seem to be glowing orange reflected in Peter's iris for a frame or 2. Maybe an explosion or a flashing siren light that he's seen as he dives downward toward whatever this crime scene is. Or could it be another presence that's connecting with Peter in this exact moment? Could it be another loner experiencing a surprising physical evolution that threatens their existence?
Like who?
Keep watching this video to find out. The letter Peter reads in this section is a rewritten version of the letter that Peter wrote for MJ in the final minutes of Spider-Man No Way Home that he decided at the last second not to give her. That letter we were able to see the first few sentences of written on graph paper in the credit sequence of that movie. It read, "Dear MJ, you don't know me, so this is gonna sound pretty crazy, but the truth is," and then he crossed that out, but then said, "But actually, you do know me, actually." Oof, a double use of the word actually in one sentence, clearly a STEM major. But this revised letter, I zoomed and enhanced on this folded piece of paper, and here's the full heartbreaking text.
To me,
"Hi, my name is Peter Parker, and you don't remember me, but I have something to tell you that's going to sound crazy, but it's the truth, and I know you're going to believe me because you're very good at telling when I'm lying. We used to know each other. We were together, but something bad was going to happen to the world, and the only way to stop it was to make everyone forget me, including you, because I'm not just Peter Parker, I'm Spider-Man, and sometimes Spider-Man has to do the hard thing, even if it breaks Peter Parker's heart. Maybe..."
Already peaked. This is already peaked.
"I'll never read this to you. Maybe I'm just writing this for me. Maybe that's my responsibility, to live alone with the truth. But the truth is, I love you, and I hope deep down something inside you remembers you love me too." Oh.
Dude, I could cry right now. Like, this movie's about to be like a heartthrob cinematic masterpiece. Like I don't know what to expect, bro. And the fact that it's happening this year. When are tickets going online? Because I'm getting my 4DX movie tickets the day it goes live. I don't care. I'm seeing that. Ooh, I'm gonna be swinging on the web like a Spider-Man, trying to get my Mary Jane back, baby. Yeah, life's about to be good. Life's already good, let's be honest. But life's really about to get good, baby.
Maybe this is a letter he's planning on slipping to MJ now that he's apparently crashing our housewarming party, or really just something he's writing for his own therapeutic benefit. But he is bringing some faded looking flowers that he picked up from this bodega. We do later see MJ vase those crappy looking flowers, so maybe deep down she does love him. Peter here sees Ned walking in, completely oblivious to him. I appreciate the sign of no credit given behind Peter's head. He truly is given no credit for the sacrifice he made to help get MJ and Ned into his dream school of MIT. Let's also not forget that No Way Home revealed that Ned is a freaking sorcerer, folks. He has some innate wizard powers that allow him to open a sling ring without any of the practice or training that Stephen Strange had to go through. Peter washes his suit in a washing machine in his building. We're reminded of Tobey Maguire, Peter Parker, and Spider-Man 2 in the laundromat and how all of his clothes ended up getting stained. But I don't see a dryer here. Maybe this building just expects all the tenants to air dry their clothes. But I guess if Peter were to try drying his suit, it would shrink or stain a lot of the other clothes. But also remember, the last time we saw Michael Mando Scorpion in the MCU, he threatened to do this to Peter.
You know, take a picture, slice his throat, put his head in the dryer.
Right.
Maybe Peter's just afraid of dryers. Now, to be clear, this is not an in-unit washer. No way any apartment that Peter Parker would rent would have one, even if he does have a very expensive smartphone. This is a shared laundry machine in its building. There are some rumors that Peter's gonna meet some blonde-haired neighbor in this laundry room in this movie. That could be Kieran Shipka as Gwen Stacy, but I don't know if I buy those rumors. Notice how bruised Peter's leg is here. Youch! He's probably washing some blood out of his suit after a nasty fight. Meanwhile, MJ and Ned watch on TV as
Peter Parker really getting his ass beat, bro. Yeah, it's about to be cinema.
Spider-Man is given a key to the city, so this movie is confirmed to take place after the events of Daredevil Born Again Season 2. And there is a potential spoiler for Daredevil Born Again Season 2 in this shot. I would not know. I've not seen any episode of that season yet, but in case it is and you don't want to know, you can skip to this time. Okay,
look, I still gotta watch it, even though I am going to be watching Daredevil, which drops, as I'm recording this, it drops next Tuesday, I believe. Yeah, bro, like Daredevil's about to start, we're about to have peak on peak on peak on peak on peak. So this is, hey, even though this might spoil, it's not going to spoil the whole plot. It just might, you know, we might already have an idea of how it's going to end up, but you know, I don't really care.
The person handing him that key, I'm pretty sure, is Sheila Rivera, played by actress Sabrina Guevara. She was the chief political advisor to Mayor Wilson Fisk in season 1 of Daredevil Born Again. She is going to return in season 2 starting next week. She's the one who had the initial misgivings about Fisk's approach, but then when Police Commissioner Gallo tried to work with Sheila to oust Fisk once the mayor declared him curfew and martial law, Sheila recorded Gallo, snitched, and got Gallo killed by Fisk in the most violent execution Marvel Studios has ever shown in a Disney Plus show.
I need more of that. I need more of that.
Sabrina Guevara, but rather Liza Colon-Zayas, aka Tina from The Bear, who will definitely be in the cast of this film, but this isn't her. Set photos of her character show that she has shorter hair in this film. This is definitely Sheila from Daredevil Born Again. Also, I could be wrong, but is that Ayelet Zurer as a gray-haired Vanessa Fisk to the right of Spider-Man in this ceremony?
No way.
It's all very odd, because Fisk hates masked vigilantes of all types, and even called out Spider-Man in his inaugural address.
We don't need a gun-toting vigilante who wears a skull on his chest.
Punisher.
Or a man who dresses in a spider outfit.
Spider-Man.
So for his advisor Sheila to be handing Spider-Man the key to the city, it must mean that Daredevil Born Again Season 2 is going to feature some status quo shift in which Fisk is either no longer mayor, hey, maybe scarily in an even higher office now, and Sheila is either the interim mayor, or maybe Vanessa is, or maybe both of them are just forced into this weird...
That's my thing. I really don't want Mayor Fisk to just be gone after season 2. Like Eric said, maybe he's in a higher position. I feel like they can't just kill him off this early, especially like hit. Like I feel like because we still need hit. Like I don't know. It's not like we need him to verse Spider-Man. It's just like it seems like a common reoccurring thing that even though he, you know, the Daredevil and Spider-Man both, even though Daredevil and Spider-Man both fight Kingpin, bro, every Spider-Man game, the freaking Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse movies, like he's always fighting Kingpin. So it's like I want to see that happen in a live action. So maybe if they push him to a higher, you know, after this season of Daredevil, they push him to a higher tax bracket. You know what I mean? He's working up there with the big boys. Maybe in the next Spider-Man film, because I'm pretty sure this is the first. Since it's a brand new day, this is going to be the first of another trilogy. That in the next one we really might see him, you know, fight Kingpin, which I don't know how it's gonna work, but we'll see. There's so many Spider-Man villains, you know what I mean. I feel like the only things they really need to do, I just want Venom. I want Venom, bro, and I don't know how we're gonna get it, but Venom, like that Venom arc for Tom Holland, is so necessary. I don't think we're ever going to get another Venom live action movie, but I did hear that they are in the works of making a Venom animation, which is cool, but still, like, we need a Venom live action rated R movie. That's necessary. That's necessary for the plot and for my well-being.
Position of having to make peace with certain masked heroes. I don't know. But MJ and Ned are watching this broadcast because, as we'll see later in this trailer, these natural eggheads are trying to piece together who Spider-Man is. Peter runs across a rooftop, pulling down his mask and leaping into action, leading to what might be a different scene where a heavily armored tank unloads some high caliber artillery at him and is not at all concerned over how this is affecting nearby office buildings. It's not really easy to see here, but Peter's swinging as he chases this tank down is all practical swinging. Onlooker set videos from the Glasgow area show that Destin Daniel Cretton's crew rigged up an impressive mobile rigging that allowed the stunt performer to physically swing from side to side while pursuing the tank down the street. There was some discourse about how
why the Peter Parker doing that? Nah, none of them, except for Tom. That boy gave himself a concussion just because he wanted to feel like Spider-Man. He really wanted to adapt the role of the Spider on his Tom Cruise timing. Come on, bro. You can't see. Clap it up for my GOAT, Tom Holland. Like, he's not too much of a GOAT because he is married to my quote unquote married, if they want to say, to my baby girl Zendaya. But it's like, you know, shout out Tom. You know what I mean?
Previous director said that practical swinging for Spider-Man would be impossible, which I guess was why he used so much green screen and CGI. But really, for No Way Home, it was more of a COVID era necessity. Cretton's team clearly figured it out, and I'm so excited to see it. I think this movie's going to be a strong contender against the Odyssey and Dune Part 3 and Avengers Doomsday for the very first stunt performer Oscar. Now, what's craziest about this tank firing on Peter is, based on the later shot, the person driving it in this moment seems to be this random older woman who is being possessed by someone or something. I feel bad that this woman was being forced fire on all those office buildings. I also love how many of Cretton's shots are aimed all the way down the street, like when Peter smacks the cars and when Peter crashes through Frank's windshield or when Peter tells Frank to go home. There's clearly a dimension to these shots that they're really setting this on the wet streets of Glasgow and not on a backlot with an overhang tarp cover where the street ends in a corner to block your eye line. Like, I don't mind seeing that in a TV series, but on a $200 million movie, it can feel a little too economical. Peter gets sideswiped by the battle van driven by Punisher Frank Castle. John Bernthal returns in this movie after last appearing in Daredevil Born Again Season 1 when he helped Matt Murdock and Karen Page fight Kingpin's anti-vigilante task force and got caught and caged in one of Fisk's kennels and then broke out in the season's post-credit scene. Punisher may also appear in Daredevil Born Again Season 2, but we don't yet know. He will appear in an R-rated Marvel one-shot on Disney Plus at some point this year. The comedic timing of this shot recalls a similar shot where Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man gets sideswiped by an NYPD truck in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. There's also a similar shot of Tom Holland's Peter Parker in Berlin getting sideswiped by a bear train. All of these are really an homage to the iconic Buster Keaton stunt of how he just kind of exits quickly out of frame, but a really fun detail that's easy to miss here. When Peter gets swiped by the van, after that van clears the shot, you can see that Peter's head was positioned directly in front of a no loitering sign. Shouldn't have loitered, Peter. But why didn't Peter's Spidey sense detect the approaching battle van? Does Frank drive that fast? Did the voice of Frank's ghost son screaming, "Get him, Daddy!" distract Peter? Or, as Peter's body is changing, is there just something off about his Spidey sense, aka his arachno frequency? Or does Frank's threat have a psychic shielding from Sadie Sink's character? You'll see on Frank's dashboard there are some pliers, a walkie.
It's such a good year to be a nerd. Just geek out over some bull. Like who really cares about this? In the grand scheme of things, like with the economical and political state of the world, World War III is about to start, but we got Spider-Man. Like clap it up. Like, life is great, man. Like it's a great day to disassociate and just only care about fictional universes.
Scanner and a bunch of unpaid parking tickets. No way he's ever gonna pay those. His windshield has little windows through which he can fire his guns at people he's driving directly toward. Incredible. And apparently Spider-Man and Frank know each other. Presumably they met sometime over the past 4 years being vigilantes in New York City. I don't need to know how they met. I just kind of love a lived-in Marvel world where every hero in New York kind of knows each other already. The fact that Frank is chasing...
Like, we're getting the Punisher. Like for the people that watched the Marvel Netflix series, Punisher being one of them, this is such an amazing day. I can't even wrap my head around this. This is going to be insane. Like, yeah, we already seen Daredevil, but like, you know, he was in his daily attire. We didn't see him in his Daredevil suit, which I'm pretty sure he's going to be in this movie. Daredevil has to be in this movie. I don't care. You can't just not throw him in there. Like, you threw him in the last movie. Like, you threw him in the last movie to be the lawyer. You can't throw him in this movie to actually fight a little something just for like at least one scene. I feel like it's mandatory. It's mandatory. They have to. Like, there's so much of this movie we have no idea about. Oh, it's getting me excited.
Tank. Frank the
So
Tank at odds with
excited!
Peter, who's trying to stop it. It might tell us that Frank is helping Sadie Sink's character use this tank to escape from where she is. And it seems like Peter has in the past already tried to muzzle Frank's shotguns with his webbing, because now Frank knows this is going to be non-lethal as he just pulls a trigger and turns Peter's own webbing into like an indestructible beanbag that would send him flying. But now Peter uses the lamppost to slingshot him back through Frank's windshield, taking Frank with him, and then censors Frank's profanity that he loves to hit us with on streaming shows and muzzles him with a go home. But Frank doesn't have a home, Peter. They took everything from him. He does seem to be sharing wherever he was crashing in Daredevil Born in season 1 with Matt Murdock and Jessica Jones to form their hideout.
I can't wait to see Jessica Jones. Oh my gosh, she's oh my god.
Season 2 though. Peter attends a party where MJ and Ned are in attendance, and notice.
But I'm not just saying that because she's but like Jessica Jones is honestly one of the most badass characters. And if you haven't seen Jessica Jones, like I'm gonna be honest, the shows you need to watch from like the Marvel Cinematic Netflix universe, you gotta watch Jessica Jones season 1, Luke Cage season 1. You have to watch all of Daredevil, all 3 seasons of Daredevil, and all the Punisher. Daredevil, Punisher, need to watch all of that because that's peak. Jessica Jones and Luke Cage, just watch season 1 of those. Like even though I didn't enjoy Jessica Jones, I feel like I didn't enjoy Luke Cage season 2 as much. But Jessica Jones season 1, season 2, season 3, I love. But season 1 is where it hits, just because it throws you into the universe. And then the big bad, spoiler, it's a dude that can control people with just saying some words. Like he can literally tell you, go make me a sandwich and jump off that building after, and you are going to do it. Some of the scariest superpowers ever.
MJ put in a vase of flowers that he got for her at the bodega, but now Peter sees this other guy flirting with her. This dude is played by Imanis Fondi, who played the live-action Ezra Bridger in the Star Wars Ahsoka series. His eyes are quite dreamy, but could Imanis Fondi be playing the Harry Osborn of the MCU, or could he be the Paul Raven figure? You know, the one from 2022 who time-dilated with MJ? Hate that guy. And to keep the rumor alive, I am obligated to point out this blonde-haired partygoer who presumably lives in this apartment building. Doesn't look like Kieran Shipka to me, but we are all on Spider-Gwen watch. All right, Peter collapses in his apartment, sweaty and worse for wear. The way the camera follows him as he tips over reminds me of Sam Raimi's shot of Tobey Maguire Peter Parker collapsing in his bedroom after being bitten by the spider on the field trip in the first 2002 film. Indeed, what is happening to Peter here? Well, the editing of this segment suggests that after passing out inside, Peter wakes up sometime later outside, mostly naked in a web cocoon. The webbing tears away and Peter tries to flip his web shooters, but he's not wearing mechanical web shooters, at least not here. Yet we still hear a kind of misfire thwip sound effect.
Oh god.
Did Peter in this moment know he wasn't wearing web shooters? The earlier shot of him reading the letter suggested that he often wears web shooters even when he's not suited up, because you never know when you'll need them. But when Peter falls here, he does desperately point his empty wrist upward, and we hear another
he got nothing in the tank.
And his body jerks as if something is hoisting him up. But when I went through the shot frame by frame, you do not see any webbing coming out of his wrist. Maybe they just didn't add it in the CGI of it yet. Or maybe the thwip sound that we hear in this clip is a misdirect and someone else is actually catching Peter here, like the Punisher, Sadie Sink's character, or Matt Murdock. Either way, the implication of all this is that Peter in this
see, because that's the thing with editing, there's only 2 things that could be happening. It's he uses organic webbing, flipped himself, called himself. Or I would like to think Daredevil, Daredevil flipped his little whatchamacallit. They changed the sound up to make it sound like a flip, because they be doing that. They be changing stuff in the trailers, they be erasing stuff from trailers. My best bet, I will want it to be Daredevil. I'm really banking on Daredevil being in this movie. Because I'm pretty sure we already know he's gonna have organic webbing just because of his mutation, and we've seen him in a cocoon. Like that's gonna happen already. So that's not gonna be such a surprise. Being a real surprise shows someone that we don't even know that's in the movie yet, which is Matt Murdock, Daredevil. Again, someone that is not even on the cast list right now.
Movie will start to produce organic webbing. Yes, the same kind of organic webbing from the body that Tobey Maguire Peter Parker produced in the Sam Raimi era. So traditionally in the comics, of course, Peter Parker's webs do not come from his body, they are mechanical. But the whole idea of organic webbing actually came from James Cameron, who in the 1990s wrote a 45-page scriptment, kind of like an expanded treatment that was almost like a script, for a Spider-Man movie that would have starred Leonardo DiCaprio and included some elements of Spider-Man being a freakish monster from the amazing fantasy tradition. But when James Cameron left the project and Columbia Pictures hired David Koepp to write the script, Koepp kept many of the elements from James Cameron's version evolution, including the organic webbing. Many fans who didn't grow up reading Spider-Man comics just assumed that this is how it always was, because to them it was a little inconsistent that Spider-Man would have all these other abilities associated with spiders, but not organic webbing. The whole idea of organic webbing was introduced in meta contexts among the three Peters in No Way Home on the scaffolding, and shortly after by America Chavez in Multiverse of Madness, who asked Dr. Strange and Wong if Spider-Man shot webs out of his butt. I'm gonna assume the least gross option here and say that Peter's new organic webbing in this movie comes out of his wrists. It's March, and
I feel like it just makes sense for the organic webbing. Just makes more sense simply off the fact that, dude, he can touch, like, he has sticky abilities, you know what I mean? Like he has all these attributes, but webbing is just like too far off. Like, no, I feel like it just makes sense. It coming out of his butt, kind of crazy. But you know, like, just ew. I don't even want to see that. Like the holes open up. You know how like people have gills? You know, like in The Boys, The Deep, his gills. I always hated that. That fun fact that made me stop watching the show for like a good month or so, because I was just so grossed out about his gills. But like, just like the way like gills kind of just open up in the skin and just. But with that, like, I feel like that is better simply off the fact that he can't run out unless they do some type of Flash thing where like he needs to recharge and eat food so his webbing can grow. But you know, I feel like organic webbing means like he's not gonna have any mishaps when he's, oh man, I ran out of fuel, I ran out of fluid. Like, I don't want to see it.
And get 10% off your first month of therapy. So what is happening to Peter in this movie? I think this movie is saying that Peter's evolution is an adaptation that's being triggered by his new environmental conditions. This movie is clearly not simply moving on and forgetting the events of No Way Home, it's building on them. For the first time, Peter's anomalistic physiology was exposed to variants with different survival traits. Peter connected to his two brothers via the arachnofrequency, the magical Spidey sense that links all Spider-Man variants together in the web of life and destiny. Maybe this cosmic web knows that the incursions of Doomsday and Secret Wars are coming and triggered a kind of mutation in Peter's body to adopt some of the physiological traits of the other Peters whose biorhythms he's tethered to. Traits like organic webbing, to make him more fortified for what's coming. This is kind of a real-world concept called epigenetics that Berg was trying to explain to me that could apply here. The idea being that we all have a lot of genes, but some of them might just be dormant and only get activated once we reach an environmental trigger. That environmental trigger could be the incoming incursions, and it could also cause triggers in other individuals who are going through a similar mutation process. Interesting shot here. Spider-Man gets scanned through this machine. I zoomed in enhanced to figure out every piece of text on the screen. Okay, on the lower left by his hand, the screen reads H-N, or enhanced human, or HEN. On the upper right by his head, the screen reads radiation detection. It seems like it's looking for gamma radiation, like what Hulk and She-Hulk have in their blood, or maybe the cosmic radiation given off by figures like Carol Danvers, Monica Rambeau, Kamala Khan, Wanda Maximoff. Technically, the spider that bit Peter was supposed to have some kind of radiation that resulted in his powers. On the screen close-up, we see the following. Along the top, Operator Agent Ramirez, priority elevated. In the upper right, subject designation, Vigil 9, unidentified enhanced operative, threat level, agility enhanced, non-lethal profile, last known activity, urban traversal via synthetic filament. Love it. This is just their word for whipping. And visual lock acquired, confidence 92%. And then beneath that, there's a rundown of Peter's abilities and their classes, whatever that means. Superior strength. Beneath that, muscle fiber density, 12,500 PSI tensile strength, which is a lot. I don't think that's talking about his webbing. That's talking about just like his muscles. Enhanced class B, superior agility, neural response time 0.02 seconds, reflexive overdrive class C, and then under heightened senses, you can see ocular enhancement, 360-degree peripheral awareness, augmented class A, and then under enhanced perception, ocular enhancement, and then something else peripheral awareness, and then also augmented class A. And at the bottom of the screen, it reads device model neuroptics. So two things this could be. One, it could be a scanner invented by Bruce Banner, a Banner scanner, using the kind of gamma radiation reading tech that he used in the 2012 Avengers film, now being used to identify enhanced individuals in an academic setting at Empire State University. Or, what I think it really is, a mutant scanner, used by the DODC, or whatever authority organization Tremel Tillman's character represents in this movie. Agent Ramirez suggests that it's not academic tech, but a piece of government tech, and it labels Peter as not a mutant, but enhanced, which was the same code word for mutant that Marvel Studios had to use in 2015's Avengers Age of Ultron. I think Peter might be detained here, or is allowing himself to get scanned to operate in some transparency with this government authority to try to show them that he is an ally. All of these abilities are things that Peter has had since he became Spider-Man. Not shown here are any of the freaky new traits that he's developing in this movie. Then in a lecture hall, Peter approaches Bruce Banner. Yes, Mark Ruffalo is appearing in this film, last seen in 2022's She-Hulk series. Some were asking about the piece of tech he's wearing on his hand, and yep, I guess you guys didn't watch She-Hulk or remember the Shang-Chi post-credit scene. Bruce wears...
Yeah, bro, it's like little post-credit scenes. Like, I'm not gonna remember all that. And like, bro, when I watched She-Hulk, I forgot that it freaking broke in that. Like, bro.
This on his arm to inhibit his gamma-irradiated blood in order to keep him in this human form instead of his smart Hulk form. The device got ruptured in the car crash in the She-Hulk episode, the one that led to his cousin Jennifer getting her powers, but Bruce has apparently repaired it. Peter wears an ESU sweatshirt. This is for Empire State University, the fictional Manhattan Ivy League college that Peter Parker attends in the comics, and it's where he meets Gwen Stacy. Peter not getting into MIT, but getting into Empire State, maybe not a bad trade-off for someone who just got his GED. But for Peter, Bruce Banner represents a former co-Avenger that he last saw at Tony Stark's funeral and fought alongside in the Battle of Earth. Dr. Bruce Banner's face was also in a photo hanging in his Midtown High School classroom wall. But of course, Bruce Banner in this form does not remember Peter due to the memory wipe spell. On the screen behind Bruce, a large green-colored screen, you can see Banner was lecturing about something called lattice quantum chronodynamics, or lattice QCD. So QCD refers to the theory of physics that describes a strong nuclear force that binds quarks together to form the proton.
I got a really strong nuclear force. You wanna see it? Word.
And neutrons really holds together the nuclei of atoms. Since this force is difficult to calculate, in 1974, physicist Kenneth Wilson devised lattice QCD, which involves using supercomputer simulations to map the universe onto a four-dimensional grid where the charges of quarks and gluons that hold the quarks together are designated by colors. I assume you got none of that. But maybe Banner is trying to study ways to invert the gamma radiation in his blood. I don't think it's gonna work. I think either the physical adaptations affecting all the enhanced people in this movie, or maybe Sadie Sink's character burrowing into Bruce's subconscious.
So Sadie Sink is gonna play. It's gonna be such a pivotal role in this movie. I'm so excited. And the fact we don't know anything about her yet. They see. I feel like even with the second trailer, even with the second trailer, because there's gonna be at least 2 trailers that drop, and when the days get closer, they're gonna show more and more. But I don't want them to show her face. I don't want them to show who she could be. I don't even want them to show Hulk. Keep this as mysterious as possible. And I feel like they're doing a good job so far, just with how long it's taken to roll out the trailer. The first trailer is like, dude, I want to come into the movie theater not understanding, not knowing what's going to happen whatsoever, not having a glimmer of a chance of guessing. Just surprise me, please, 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 please. So excited.
This is going to reactivate the green Savage Hulk form once more, or brand a new form we haven't seen yet, like Gray Hulk. We see a single drop of water in a bucket causing Peter's heightened senses to freak out more than they should. I'm reminded of Tobey Maguire, Peter Parker's Spidey sense in the 2002 film, hyper-focusing on a spitball and a fly when Flash was about to punch him. Again, all the connections we're seeing to Tobey and Andrew, I think it's just the arachno frequency echoing in his mind as his body is adapting to catch up to those two brothers. We see Peter in his apartment with all of his equipment reacting to his organic webbing covering every surface. This is probably after he woke up outside. Then Bruce Banner drops the big M word here. If your DNA is mutating. There it is!
Boom, you looking for this?
You don't put mutate in a Marvel trailer without knowing what you're doing. Marvel Studios used to not even be legally allowed to say that word or any of its derivations 10 years ago when Disney made the deal with Fox over how to feature Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver in Age of Ultron. The Avengers movies were prohibited from using the word mutant or mutate in any context like this. Obviously, that's not the case anymore. Disney owns Fox. But for Bruce Banner to describe Peter's changes with the word mutate suggests that this movie is going to start using the mutant nomenclature. They're planting the seeds for the mutant saga that's going to come after Secret Wars. Now, Peter...
Bro, the fact that the Mutant Wars comes next, or Mutant Saga comes next, it's like, this is a complete reset. This is where they do their big one. This is even though this is going to be in 2028, this is when the Mutant Saga will officially start, or 2028 or 2029, which is crazy to think about. But this is when everything goes back to base and we start getting movies based off random characters. We get their origin stories. We start caring about them, their people, so then they can build a new Avengers, quote unquote, right? A new Avengers can come and take their place, because the only reason Avengers really did good is they kind of already built up every solo character by themselves, and they did it well. So when they all came together, it just hit harder. So they have the perfect chance to do this. I don't know if they're gonna call it Avengers. I mean, they probably will, but I don't know. Shit, bro. I'm not really too familiar with mutants and the X-Men and stuff. So hopefully if anything, I think that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna go back to the the X-Men series. Like that's what the mutants are, right? X-Men and shit. Yo, it's gonna be gas, bro. They have free will to do anything dang near. Like Disney bought everything, so
Parker is not.
Only thing they don't have access to is like Spider-Man villains, which is so stupid. Well, I guess like they kind of do, but like nah, I don't know. Legally stuff out.
Categorically a mutant in the Marvel Comics. The term mutate has been used to describe characters like him and Deadpool, in that they started as normal humans who then got mutated by some external means. They were not born with X genes. But Peter Parker has long been associated with other mutant characters as an enhanced superhero, that he's often just grouped with them nonetheless. In House of M, for example, Peter joined the mutants in the upper class society of the mutant-dominated reality that Wanda Maximoff created. So Bruce Banner telling us that something is causing Peter Parker to mutate further just cannot be ignored. And I think the implication is that those same environmental factors are also triggering the DNA in dormant mutants of this world. It's all connected. Now, before we move on, we see one shot of Peter on a rooftop webbing off screen and slingshotting himself. This is one shot where he really does not have visible web shooters. I don't even see bumps. Those webs are coming out of his wrists, folks. Here, Peter visits the grave of Aunt May, the same grave that he and Happy Hogan visited together in one of the final scenes of Spider-Man No Way Home. Similar to the shot in that scene, the flowers cover May's birth year, leaving only 2024 visible as her death year, because that's when Spider-Man No Way Home took place. In that film, that was kind of a callback to Tony Stark in Civil War, finding Aunt May surprisingly attractive and kind of hard to place an age on. But here behind the wilted flowers, it does kind of look like the birth year is
like Marvel really just turned Aunt May into like a hot milf. Like, what's going on, bro?
1964, which, not to be impolite to the wonderful Marissa Tomei, but her birth year was 1964. Over this section, we hear someone narrating, spiders have 3 life cycles. When between cycles, it can leave the spider vulnerable to threats. And for those spiders who make it through, it amounts to a kind of rebirth. This sounds like Keith David to me. Keith David interestingly voiced Tombstone in the Spectacular Spider-Man series, but in this movie we're hearing that Marvin Jones III is going to be playing a version of Tombstone. Either way, I think this Keith David sounding dude is narrating a nature documentary. While I know a lot of us cannot help but hear this as Keith David's voice, Marvin Jones III, who is playing Lonnie Lincoln Tombstone in this movie, has a very similar register. Take a listen to our friends from the Breakfast Club.
But again, we're just starting. Right. You know, this is a black family. These are black stories and black experiences, you know.
When between cycles, it can leave the spider vulnerable to threats.
The closed captioning of this trailer calls whoever the speaker is narrator. Also, did you notice this little audio glitch on the phrase vulnerable to threats?
Vulnerable to threats.
Now, I'm sorry to do this, but if you've ever taken any biology or entomology class or just been to a freaking zoo, no, spiders do not have 3 life cycles. They're not insects. They are another division of invertebrates known as arthropods. They only have 2 segments, and they don't have larval, pupal, and adult stages the way insects do. You can't say that like egg and then baby spider and big spider are 3 stages. No, spiders hatch out of eggs looking like small versions of their adult bodies, and they just molt as they get larger, like other arthropods do. Similarly, crabs and lobsters do not have 3 life cycles. Also, you would not call them 3 life cycles, you'd call them stages. And B, spiders do not gestate in web cocoons like moths and caterpillars do.
Spider-Man
so
can.
Is this narrator stupid? Are the screenwriters biting off more they can chew? Maybe. Or maybe Keith David, or whoever this is not actually referring to life science here. It could be some voice of some Web of Life and Destiny figure who's only referring to Spider-Man variants connected to this arachno frequency. And this is not the language of scientists we're hearing here, but rather someone referring to only the cosmic biorhythms of Peter and his variants. Or could it just be Norman Osborn, who's kind of waxing poetic about how Spider-Man operates? In this section, we see a windowless containment facility.
I really like how he brought up the fact that it could really just be a misdirect, a complete misdirect. Like that line is from just on random TV that plays randomly during the movie. And he's like, let's use that just to, because bro, I promise you, like they're trying their best to keep everything a secret. Like even with the filming, like it was so hard to keep Sadie Sink off the street and not get pictures of her, even though they did find pictures. Just like, I feel like it's kind of dang near impossible to keep everything under wraps, but he did a damn good job so far. Damn good.
Facility that's holding the captive that I'm pretty sure is Sadie Sink's character. We see her bound to a chair in a faux office dormitory with elevating paneling and what look like some dangerous frequency emitting devices surrounding it. In this room, you can see a bed, a desk, bookshelving, speakers, and roller skates. Now, there was one idea at some point that Sadie Sink could be playing Carly Cooper, who participates in roller derby, part of the Brand New Day era of the comics. But rather, I think this is just a facility that this young woman has been been held captive within since she was a young girl. She's obviously extremely powerful, the powerful threat that was mentioned in the official synopsis. Now, the edit makes it seem like it's the clenching of her fists that causes this explosion outside, but I think that's just a trailer editing. Still, I do think this is the outside of the same facility that she's inside of. It's definitely maximum security based on the reinforced bars in the building to the right, the armored vehicle beneath that wall on the right, and some armed soldiers to the left. We also see some medical personnel, like someone in medical scrubs and someone else in a white lab coat. Also, someone in a hazmat suit. Yeah, this is some shady government research facility where they do human testing. I'm thinking some East Coast DODC or some other anti-mutant agency led up by Tremel Tillman's character. This is where I think Spider-Man allowed to get scanned and where Sadie Sink's character is being imprisoned. But now this explosion tears a huge hole through the wall. I think the tank drove through it. Well, I think what happened is Sadie Sink's character's abilities allowed her to hop her consciousness into other bodies, take possession of those bodies, and lily pad person to person until someone she could puppet was able to hijack this armored tank and smash it into this facility. I think the tank that Peter and Frank—
Do you think she hijacked Frank's mind?
We're chasing was her consciousness puppeting a human to bring that tank to this location, crash into it, and allow her physical body to escape. I'm guessing with the help of Frank Castle, because it's clearly inside of this facility where the tank has crashed when Peter opens the hatch, where now we see the consciousness jumping out. It hops from this sweet older lady to one of the armed soldiers, then up to the higher level to this dude. And I love how this shot uses red lights in frame to draw our eye to each body that the consciousness is hopping to. Like with the soldier to the right, we see a red light on the scope, and then as we go up, there's a red light on the higher level by the door. Also, I don't know what to make to this, but when the consciousness is shifting from the woman to the soldier, there is someone running behind these soldiers who might have been part of that chain, or might just be someone else fleeing from this facility. But here we see Tremel Tillman's character in his office talking to Spider-Man, calling this threat something, quote, we can't even see. The closed captioning names his character as Bill. Now, there are some rumors that his character would be William Metzger, or Bill Metzger, who in the Marvel Comics is a lesser-known anti-mutant activist who runs a propaganda publication. Personally, I think that that's really a production code name for the character's real name, Bill Stryker. Yeah, I think Tremel Tillman's gonna be the MCU's William Stryker, the human government's authority who's hunting and detaining mutants like Sadie Sink's character. Then we see this figure in a green coat and a hood raising their arms in Peter's apartment. Yeah, that's all of his same stuff in the shot of the organic webbing everywhere earlier. Hey, and by the way, one of our commenters on our Tuesday live stream wondered if that orange shirt hanging on the right could be the shirt that Peter wore in the Netherlands when Happy Hogan found him in Far From Home.
Tell me something only you would know.
Yeah, well, remember we went to Germany? You pay-per-viewed a video in your room? They didn't list the titles, but I could tell by the price it was an adult film at the front desk.
But we know this hooded figure is definitely Sadie Sink. How do we know that? Well, in some set photos, like one shared by Unboxed PhD, Sadie Sink was seen wearing the same outfit, a heavily green jacket and a similar jumpsuit with a specific hoodie underneath it. Specifically, we also saw yellowish cargo pants and boots, and we see those same boots in the containment cell where she's locked up on the left of it. At this point, most of us believe that Sadie Sink is playing Jean Grey in this movie. I know there are other possibilities, characters with more of an established relationship with Peter Parker in the history of Marvel media, but here's the deal, folks. Sadie Sink has also been confirmed to return as her character in Avengers Secret Wars, so she must be playing someone really important to the future of the Marvel franchise. Is Marvel Studios gonna bring Typhoid Mary into Secret Wars?
Who the frick is a
And
Typhoid
looking at this
Mary?
trailer, there are just only so many well-known Marvel A-listers with this specific kind of power set. The power to shift one's consciousness into others and take possession of their bodies. That kind of mind control represents advanced level, arguably Omega level psionic abilities that we've only seen from people like Charles Xavier, Jean Grey, and I suppose others like Shadow King, Amal Farouk. And very few enhanced folks have telekinetic powers so explosive that they would need to be kept in a cell like this. And yes, Jean Grey's powers are ones that you cannot always see. The cosmic phoenix force that empowers Jean, especially at a younger age, doesn't always manifest on the visual spectrum. In another video, I did my best to rationalize.
Damn. And seeing that other person that played Jean Grey, like she looked like Sadie Sink.
And especially at a younger age, doesn't always—
Maybe I'm racist or some shit, but like, you know what I mean? Like that, I can see that. Like, I feel like that if Sadie Sink gonna play this character, hey,
manifest on the visual spectrum. In another video, I did my best to rationalize why Marvel Studios would introduce a foundational mutant like Jean Grey right now. I get it, it's a big, kind of weird move. Why would they do it in this movie before everything gets blown up in Doomsday and Secret Wars? When Jean Grey would need to be on the same footing as other new incoming mutants like Scott Summers, Hank McCoy, or Aurora Monroe in the X-Men film that's probably gonna come in 2028. Well, in that video, I did come up what I think is a solid explanation for how it might actually be the smartest move to introduce Jean right now, so that they can overpower her into the Phoenix in Secret Wars, deplete that star power in that movie, and then revert her to her better Marvel Girl Jean form for X-Men, so that they could leave the Phoenix as part of her blacked out forgotten past and avoid having to drags Sadie Sink through the same Dark Phoenix saga storyline that Fox made the mistake of doing twice with Famke Janssen and Sophie Turner. So, by applying the epigenetics theory, Jean Grey could be the mutant zero of the 616 universe, someone who's been confined by the government for several years if she was a little girl with roller skates in that cell, who, due to her unique Phoenix Force link, had her dormant X gene awoken early by the incoming incursions to mutate and prepare her for the coming conflict, and Jean's awakening could trigger the mutations in others in this reality, including the physiological changes in Peter Parker and maybe a reversion.
I feel, is it mandatory I watch more X-Men? I think it's mandatory because I'm so lost.
to Savage Hulk for Bruce Banner, or the emergence of the Grey Hulk. Let me know your thoughts on this theory in the comments below, but let's move on. Okay, here we see Peter battling with other villains who are part of the Spider-Man Rogues Gallery. First, Michael Mando returns from Spider-Man Homecoming as Matt Gargan Scorpion, whom Peter busted in an arms deal on the Staten Island ferry, getting him arrested and sent to Rikers, where he told Adrian Toomes he was gonna stuff Spider-Man's severed head in a dryer. Now he has a fully mechanized Scorpion suit, and he uses that tail to wallop Peter across the street. I wonder if Mac remembers how that Toomes...
Say what you want, I miss the nanotech. The nanotech from Iron Man was so tough. Like it's just him able to press a button and just wraps around him. So sexy. Oh my god, I love it.
Guy randomly started glowing in his Rikers prison cell down the cell block and transported to whatever universe Morbius is in. And yes, I forced in that segue to Morbius because New Rockstars is doing another live show on April 17th at the UCB Theater in Los Angeles, where we're gonna do an abridged staged reading of Morbius from 2022. But you don't have to live in LA to watch it. There's a nifty online portal where you can watch the show wherever you live. Ticket link in the description.
So
but
does that mean Morbius is officially in the MCU now?
Stay out of my way.
Yeah, he says stay out of my way. At least that's what we hear. But if you look closely, Michael Mando is saying something else. Often trailers, especially Sony trailers, like to do stuff like this. So how did Mac get out of prison? Who hooked him up with this cool gear? Someone must be bankrolling him. Now, it could be Kingpin, though unfortunately, legally, Vincent D'Onofrio's Wilson Fisk cannot appear in this movie. Damn. It could be Val and her Ox Group resources, which are going to show up in Daredevil Born Again Season 2. It could be Lonnie Lincoln Tombstone, who is probably going to be played by Marvin Jones III in this movie. Someone else could have raided the DODC storage and all the hardware from Stark and Adrian Toomes that the DODC confiscated over the years. Also, hey, it could be the tech of Oscorp and Norman Osborn. I kept obsessing over that neon green overhang in the background of this Scorpion shot. It says like something LEY building, doesn't say Oscorp building. But I really love this next shot of Peter rolling in some sticky webbing and sliding across the rooftop and getting a bunch of birds stuck to him. Then a quick shot of Frank Castle saying, "You're losing it, kid." Maybe the reason Frank is protecting / helping Sadie Sink if she is Jean Grey is that maybe Jean can use her telepathic abilities to silence the voice of Frank's ghost kids in his mind. Then we see Peter and MJ standing face to face with the towers of Central Park West in the background. Peter's masked up here. Of course, MJ does not remember who Peter is, but she does have some vague memories of interacting with Spider-Man. So maybe being masked here is just one way Peter can still connect with her. Then the shot of Peter while trying to stop or redirect the tank webs a pole to use the centrifugal force to turn the tank down a street leading to Battery Park and the Staten Island ferry. But this flings him against a bus where, sitting in a seat, wearing a New York Jet shirt, is this extra that many online are now claiming to be Rogue. Yes, the
if you don't get your ass.
energy sapping mutant Rogue. I don't know, guys. I guess they're just saying that from the hair. I would love an appearance by Rogue.
I can see it by the hair and the color.
If Jean Grey is going to be in this movie, why not Rogue? But hey, this would not be how they would introduce Rogue, not in a trailer like this. Rogue would never be a Jets fan. And no offense to this extra, I just think they would cast a bigger name.
Shout out to the Jets, I guess. I don't know.
Splash page shots that seem like they're going to be part of either an Act 1 montage showing Peter's heroics or something else. First, we see this pose that Peter makes as he's rescuing this guy. It's an exact restaging of Amazing Fantasy number 15, the first ever comic appearance of Spider-Man from August 1962, where he's posed in this open-chested way to perfectly match Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko's cover art. In that first issue, this cover art isn't anything that we see Spider-Man do in his origin story. The green-suited guy is just meant to be kind of a generic thug who is retroactively named Steve as a nod to Steve Ditko. It's not Norman Osborn or Harry Osborn. Many have wondered if the overcast, hazy look of New York City here is a clue that this scene could be taking place on the same day as the final battle of the Thunderbolts film, when Sentry's void form went rogue and engulfed major parts of the city in shadow.
But it's just showing how depressing New York City is, and that's what we need. We need a depressing city for a depressing Spider-Man I wouldn't even say for what's the word? For an underdog story. Part of me doesn't even want Peter to fully win. He needs to almost win just so he can come harder in the next movie. Ooh.
And it did that and temporarily exiled victims into their most shameful memories. So if Peter was part of that, maybe he would have been forced to revisit the death of Aunt May or the death of Tony Stark or maybe even the death of his Uncle Ben, something the MCU Spider-Man has never really revealed to us. But either way, Peter was somewhere in New York when all that happened. It was also rumored that Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova might appear in this film, and if there is a Thunderbolts connection, I'm betting it would happen here. Next, Peter
please have Florence Pugh in this. I need my queen in this.
Up with his webbing snaking toward us as Boomerang attacks from below. Boomerang, Frederick Myers, was a Spider-Man villain from 1966, an Australian-American who got caught taking bribes that ended his baseball pitching career, and he fell into the crime organization called the Secret Empire. Then, on a boat on the river, Peter dodges an attack from Tarantula. The image here is a direct recreation of the first appearance of Tarantula on the cover of The Amazing Spider-Man 134 in 1974 by artist Ross Andrew. Tarantula, the first of whom was named Anton Miguel Rodriguez, was a South American terrorist who ends up working for the Brand Corporation, who wears razor-clawed boots and gloves that are often tipped with toxins.
Like Tarantula, he low-key look a little threatening. Then you have someone called Boomerang. Dude, you throw Boomerang. You're not scary. Go sit down somewhere. I don't know. Some of these villains are nothing crazy.
That render his victims unconscious. Now, rumors that reported these two characters also speculated that other low-level Spider-Man villains could also cameo, not just Tombstone, but like Rhino, Chameleon, Ramrod. No, I do not think this movie is assembling the Sinister Six, but I do have a theory as to what all of this slow-motion imagery really is with these next shots. Okay, here Peter faces off against the Ninjas of the Hand. Yes, in their Frank Miller comic-accurate red suits. You remember the Hand from the Daredevil series and the Netflix era and its crossover Defenders series. It's an ancient cult of ninjas that operates as a criminal organization, but I do not know why all of these characters are in this seemingly abandoned prison, and I really don't know why Peter is not wearing his mask here, but it does seem to be late in the film because the webbing Peter emits does not come from web shooters, and its tensile strength also appears to be even more powerful than what showed up on the scanner because the way it shatters that sword like an icicle, damn! Like, I know Destin Daniel Cretton is known for some incredible Shia-inspired imagery, but doesn't this feel like it's kind of in a simulated reality? It's just also hyper-realistic and stylized than the rest of the footage. It makes me wonder if Peter's actually in some kind of Danger Room-esque training simulation for all of this, or some kind of vision that, like, Jean Grey is putting him through. Maybe some module that the DODC might have to test Peter's actual enhancements. Specifically, this shot of Peter's eyes rolling over dark. I know many think this could be the symbiote taking over his body, or some other kind of evil. Maybe it's even Jean Grey trying to get into his mind, or just his physiological changes taking over as he mutates into a multi-armed man spider. But I do think the close-up of his eyes going dark is meant to be the beginning of some kind of mental projection, simulated reality that's going to take him through these trials. Whether it's a technological one through the DODC or something Jean Grey is putting him through, I don't think it's something he's actually experiencing. Now, if you look closely in Peter's dark eyes at this shot and enhance the image, it does kind of look like there's some mysterious red face being reflected. I just cannot make out who it is or what the context of this shot is. So this shot of Peter flying toward the hand ninjas, it seems to be using some Crouching Tiger wuxia cinematography that looks awesome. A lot of folks are also focused on the negative space of the shot to wonder if the space beneath Peter has had other Marvel heroes scrubbed down.
Daredevil and someone else. Daredevil gotta be in this though.
Using VFX like Hulk or Punisher or Jean Grey, or yeah, maybe that's just Daredevil flying beneath him there.
You know what I mean?
I remember when the final No Way Home trailer showed a similar framing of what Sony tried to make us think was just one Peter leaping to the right at some villains outnumbering him, and in the Latin America version of the trailer, some invisible force knocked Lizard's head that we all quickly figured out was Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, just scrubbing out the shot. And we don't want to get fooled again, but I also don't know if Sony and Destin Daniel Cretton would be that dumb to just do that again in the splash shot of this trailer. But I do think there's something even more deceptive going on with the shot. Like, if it were just this shot alone, I could chalk it up to being part of the montage with Boomerang and Tarantula, those shots. But with the intense looking Peter without the mask in the prison, yes, something more is going on here. Something that I think could just be in Peter's mind. We end with another scene from MJ and Ned's housewarming party. Or maybe it's just MJ's housewarming party. I don't know if she and Ned are roommates. But we do find out that Peter's living in the same building. And you can see that MJ is still wearing that broken Black Dahlia necklace that Peter got for her in Venice and Far From Home, that she continued to wear in the final scene of No Way Home to signal her ongoing love for him. And in the background, you can see a conspiratorial research wall where apparently MJ and maybe MJ and Ned are obsessively trying to figure out who Spider-Man is. I find this very sweet. The two of them were so close with Peter before the memory wipe spell that deep down there's some nagging cosmic force that's driving them to answer that question. And I really hope it's both MJ and Ned, because Peter ultimately needs both of them. And yes, MJ makes reference to the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man nickname.
Unless Ned is a villain.
Of the Spider-Man character that Peter definitely embraced when he was just trying to keep Queens safe in Spider-Man Homecoming. I love this trailer. I love the imagery that Destin Daniel Cretton is able to bring. I love the stunts. I love the effects. I love the acting. I love what Destin Daniel Cretton is doing with this franchise, and I love what they are depriving from us. And even if I'm overthinking it, and this movie has nothing to do with mutation, it does have everything to do with mutation. They use the word evolution in the official synopsis. We hear Bruce Banner, the resident scientist of the MCU, saying mutate. They're gonna plant the seeds in this movie, and they're gonna do it in a way that both furthers Peter Parker's narrative, continues the narrative that was there in No Way Home, sets up Doomsday, and sets up the mutant saga. That's why they needed the guy who was gonna direct the 5th Avengers movie to direct this movie. Comment down below.
Oh my gosh, shout out to Rockstars, always. We're gonna be going through Rockstars for all the little tidbits, Easter eggs, information. Shout out Eric Voss. But make sure you subscribe to the channel so you never miss a video, you know what I mean? Turn on post notifications, and I'm gonna see y'all next video. My Patreon may be better than Netflix, but do not become a member because I have to give away a Tesla, gaming setups, and a ton of other things. So whatever you do, do not scan this QR code on screen. Please don't do it.